These young plants must be delicate if they are kept in the nursery. This poster is for an exhibition that Martin Hamish was directing, but it had nothing to do with Kew Gardens. This certificate belongs to Martin Hamish. He won a horticultural competition. We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window. A thesis written by Martin Hamish. A glasses case. It is empty. This area serves as Martin Hamish's office. An award presented to Martin Hamish for Best Grower of the Year. A master's degree diploma. It belongs to Martin Hamish. It is a bust of Montague Dunn. I am curious if the marble that we found will fit this place. Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the Colonial Collection Room is what they have in common. The seeds of plant species are stored here. Open.
Good day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you too. But...
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh, yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss, after the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Would you happen to know why part of the Colonial Collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
The Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it is a very pretty name.
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
He was a master, a great leader. I saw him almost as a spiritual father.
He had an exceptional nature?
Oh, yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic, and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house.
I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system. The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
The power is on. The engine cannot be started whilst the transmission is active. The engine has started. The ventilation system is working. These flower pots are beautiful. They are intended to be used for exhibition purposes. The symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
Now we need to see if we can activate the fans from Mr. Hamish's and Albert's space.
Here it is. Cylinder Records.
These plants, classified as shrubs or grasses, have adapted to their arid environment due to a system of underground roots.
This recording seems very long. It is unnecessary to listen to all of it. Miss White was in the laboratory, as she told us. Excellent. This ventilation fan is working. Let us see if I can activate the other one. Before I activate the fan, I need to check if the interior of the Colonial Collection Room can be seen from here. From here, we are unable to see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room. Perfect. Now I just need to find Watson to check the result.
It works perfectly, Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the Colonial Collection Room.
Do you have friends at Kew Gardens?
None. Not worthy they are.
Nevertheless, we have seen Kew Gardens flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search? Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago, and we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
No. Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the exhibition at his green fly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see. So, if you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I beg your pardon. And yet you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole theirs.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
Let's go to Scotland Yard.
Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunn.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send the lads around to arrest him.
Very good. I shall wait to hear from you. Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
Holmes, my God!
Yes, we found him like that.
Our messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed. Mr. Hamish realized that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please? I should like to examine it. The mark around the neck is very visible. He died instantly.
Holmes, his left shoe is unique. This anomaly is often a characteristic of...
A club foot. Bravo, Watson. That is the key element of this case. Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
Why? Because of Mr. Hamish's club foot. Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross. I should have noticed it.
But, Mr. Holmes, I can't see why.
No, I don't suppose you do. You must recall that Mr. Dunn was locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps, but it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable?
Correct. Mr. Hamish accuses only himself in his letter, And so the investigation stops.
Possibly an accomplice, then? That idea had not occurred to me, Mr. Holmes.
I have another idea, Inspector. Thanks to the testimony that we have collected, we are able to rebuild the events as they took place that day.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case.
Precisely.
The map at the entrance of Kew Gardens should help us with our timeline.
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning. Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted Martin Hamish in killing Montague Dunn.
What happened, Inspector?
It's all over now, lad. There is no use denying it. We know that you murdered your father. Patricide by plant poisoning. Very alliterative.
What? You're mad. I didn't do it. I don't know anything about botany. No!